This is Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. Released in 2018, this Dungeons & Dragons sourcebook is packed to the gills with all manner of murderous monsters. But its pages could also hold a clue as to the deadly new monster facing our heroes in Stranger Things Season 4. Welcome to Explainiac. I'm Dan Casey, and today I'm strapping on my tinfoil hat to explore a theory I have about Stranger Things' upcoming Season 4. As has been the case with each and every season of the Duffer Brothers' creepy cool homage to the 1980s, Dungeons & Dragons, the tabletop role-playing game, looms large over the series, both in terms of how it affects the characters and the inspiration for the monsters with which our heroes must do battle. So far, we don't know an awful lot about Stranger Things 4. On Valentine's Day, Netflix released a teaser titled From Russia with Love, which takes us across the snowy hinterlands of Kamchatka, Russia, and, spoiler alert for literally their own biggest cliffhanger, tune out now if you haven't seen it and don't want to get spoiled. It reveals that rumors of Chief Hopper's death have been greatly exaggerated. He's been working on the railroad all the livelong day and doing his best accidental 11 from Season 1 cosplay. I mean, seriously, somebody get this man an ego stat. Now, we broke down every last detail of that trailer on Nerdist News, which you can watch in the description below, and on Nerdist.com, Michael Walsh theorized that the film's Arctic conditions mean that it's going to draw on John Carpenter's 1982 classic, The Thing, as one of its core inspirations. Now, for those of you who haven't seen The Thing, and if you haven't, please change that immediately, Kurt Russell is a treasure, it follows a group of American scientists at a remote research outpost in Antarctica who are being menaced by a shape-shifting monster. Now, given that assumption that it's going to be influenced by The Thing, I found myself wondering which of the myriad monsters in Dungeons & Dragons' storied history could fit into this archetype, as well as the lore that's already been established within Stranger Things. Now, there are plenty of shape-shifting monstrosities that could inspire this season of Stranger Things, like the doppelganger, or the mimic, or even a Rakshasa casting disguised self, but something tells me we're at least a few seasons away from cat people that can use literal magic. Now, the answer, I believe, can be found within the pages of Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, as I mentioned at the top. And in the spirit of Stranger Things, it fittingly enough came from the mind of a precocious child. Now, the monster I'm talking about is a nightmarish eldritch abomination known as the Oblex. The Oblex was created by Nolan Whale, a boy who took part in the Make-A-Wish program by spending the day working with the designers of Dungeons & Dragons. Now, at first glance, the Oblex looks like this giant red gelatinous horror with just dozens of slimy tentacles and screaming faces inside of its body pressed against its viscous exterior. Honestly, a total nightmare. The Oblex is the result of Mind Flayer experiments on oozes, and it can, according to D&D designer Jeremy Crawford, absorb the memories of other beings, and they can then create a duplicate of that person tethered to this umbilical cord of ooze behind them. But wait, it gets worse. Because an adult or elder Oblex can actually carry within itself basically the memories of a host of people and cause versions of those people to pop up. Now, Crawford also explained that Nolan's creation includes creatures known as Oblex spawn, which are the result of older Oblex being so filled up with people that essentially the memories sort of blorp out of the larger ooze, then start creating these smaller ones. It's really some fabulous horror movie kind of stuff, these oozes that go around and steal people. It's very kind of Invasion of the Body Snatchers-esque, and then they can haunt communities with memories of these people in physical form. Sounds terrifying, right? I mean, honestly, hats off to you, Nolan, for making my favorite new D&D monster, because that is just scary as hell. But how does this relate back to Stranger Things? Well, the key there is that these were created by Mind Flayers. In D&D, Mind Flayers are malevolent, psychic, tentacle-mouthed terrors that lurk in the Underdark. In Stranger Things, the Mind Flayer is the massive, shadowy entity that rules over the Upside Down, with a deep-seated hatred of 11 and a penchant for mind control. Now, Stranger Things Season 3 kind of veered a bit into this territory, with the Mind Flayer slowly possessing different townsfolk and forcing them to do his bidding, but what if that was just the beginning? What if the Mind Flayer, having absorbed so much biological and psychic data from these people and countless other victims, could start spawning full-fledged doppelgangers or send a shape-shifting agent like an Oblex to infiltrate and obliterate its enemies? Because its plan nearly worked in Season 3, but now we're going beyond Hawkins to follow Chief Hopper's adventures in Kamchatka, Russia. So could they turn this gulag into a gulag? Well, considering the Russians have a Demogorgon held captive there, there's certainly connection to the Upside Down, which means it's only going to be a matter of time until the Mind Flayer seeks alternate routes of accessing this plane of existence. And having someone like Hopper who's fought both the Mind Flayer and its cronies in the past and has a strong connection to Hawkins, that could potentially draw the Mind Flayer to Kamchatka and cause it to send its agents to wreak havoc there. And honestly, as the thing taught us, sending shape-shifting nightmares to menace increasingly paranoid people in polar conditions is a pretty solid plan of attack. Unless, of course, Chief Hopper gets his hands on a flamethrower, which, has to happen, right? I mean, how can you not want to see David Harbour wielding a flamethrower and just going to town on the Upside Down's equivalent of an Oblex? What's he gonna do, punch it again?
Okay.
Alas and alack, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens when Stranger Things 4 comes out, presumably at some point later this year. But in the meantime, let me know, what do you think? What D&D inspired monster is gonna menace our heroes this season? Let me know in the comments below and give me a thumbs up while you're there. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends and subscribe to our channel. And be sure to smash that notification bell as well, that way you will never miss a new episode of Explainiac. And if you want even more wild fan theories, well guess what? You can watch past episodes of Explainiac right now, wherever fine Nerdist content is streamed. And remember, not everything in life can be explained, but for everything else, there's this show.